Hey, Coach. John Rutter from Sabres.com. Now that you've had a couple of days to kind of decompress, what's the mood and the mentality in the room, kind of knowing what you need to accomplish in Game 3? And with a lot of young guys, how are you kind of trying to help them navigate that?
Yeah, the mood's good. Obviously, we don't like what happened last weekend, but we're not also going to dwell on that. You can't live in the past. You need to live in the present. So you learn from the past. I think we did a good job of, we met on Monday, try to get our heads right, set a tone for where we want to go this week, things we need to get better at. And then kind of the mindset we need to have moving forward. We've had 2 really good days of practice. And our mission and our mindset is just on Friday night. You can't worry about what's ahead. All you can do is control what's ahead, the next game, Friday night. So our whole focus is on giving ourselves the best chance to win one game, and just focus on one game, and we take care of that, and then we move on from there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What's the benefit to having so much time between game 2 and game 3? Obviously, a non-traditional setup for a playoff series in some ways.
I think the benefit is you number one with where we're at, health. To rest some guys that are playing through things, or to potentially get some guys back from injury. So our lineup's been pretty beat up, so that's a real benefit. I think also because of the results, you get time to put it away, learn from it, get a little bit ticked off by it, but then also put it away and move forward. And then you have time from a coaching staff perspective of putting things into practice that we need to do better against Syracuse in particularly, to give ourselves a better chance to win.
It's challenging for a young player like Kozak to come into this league and play that type of role and try to play that heavy game. How have you seen him adjust and sort of grow into that since day one?
I think in the second half of the year, Cozy's game has been excellent. And I think the only thing that's derailed even further acceleration of his development has been the 2 injuries. Because the crazy thing is the 2 games he got injured in the second half of the year, both were games that he was going off. He scored goals in both games. He had massive hits in both games, and he had fights in both games, and fights that he destroyed the other guy. So there's a lot of confidence and okay, I can do this at this level. I can impose my will, and I can be an offensive threat. And then both games he just happened to get injured. And so then there's a little bit of a setback and then a build back up. With the exception of those 2 moments that are out of your control, injuries happen. I think his second half of the season has been extremely strong.
As a 7th round pick, is he a guy who carries a chip on his shoulder, just being a late draft pick who's trying to prove something?
It's a good question. My gut feel is he's a person that carries a chip on his shoulder regardless of where he got picked, but I'm sure the 7th round probably adds to that. He's the scary kind of competitor because he's quiet. And I remember in the fight he had against Utica, Pex on the bench was like, that's why you never fight a guy that doesn't say anything. Because those are the guys that are chirping a lot of times usually, might be kind of tough, but then they get challenged and who knows. Usually those silent assassin types are a little bit scary. And he has that in spades.
Obviously, we know he has a good shot. What other areas have you seen him add to his game since the start of the season? I guess what are the areas of growth that you want to see as next steps for him?
Well, I think what he's grown at the most this year, offensively, where he's grown the most is willingness and ability to get to the inside and get the puck back. When you play younger levels of hockey, you can lose the puck. It's no big deal. It's going to come back to you. They're going to turn it over. You're just better than the other people. You're going to go get it, whatever it is. And then at this level and above, if you just casually turn pucks over or don't go get pucks, you might never see it the whole shift again. So offensively, he's gotten way better at getting on the inside, attacking, and then getting the puck back. And then defensively, his habits have just grown immensely. He was a poor defensive player at the start of the year, just because it hadn't ever been important to him. And now he understands how important it is to be a great offensive player. You have to be a quality defensive player. He and we laugh when we watch video. I ask him always, when I'm showing him defensive clips, I always ask him, do you like playing defense? He's like, no, I hate playing defense. Exactly. So let's be good at it so you don't have to play it. So his willingness and ability to stop on pucks, to have detail, to be systematically correct, all of those things have just grown by leaps and bounds. And all of those things allow him to get the puck more and then to show his offensive skills. Now, that is also where the further growth continues to have to happen. To not have, he has less of these moments than he did earlier, but moments within shifts where you get frustrated or you just kind of go like this for a second and you can't have those 2, 3, 4 second lapses to be a great player in the National Hockey League. You have to have 40 seconds. It doesn't mean you're running around the whole 40 seconds, but you have to have 40 seconds of mental urgency and avoid those little lapses that then can be taken advantage of by great players.
You have days this week to prepare the hockey side and hockey details adjustments that you're making, but how do you get the group to focus on a quick start, maybe a more aggressive start than you saw in games 1 and 2?
Yeah, I mean, I think that started Monday by talking about putting away what happened while learning from it, and then talking about what we need to do moving forward. And that was really important to kind of set the mindset for the week. Which will then lead into the first period. So do we want to have a great start? Yes, 100%. We have the home crowd. The home crowd helps with that, right? Because then just like it helped Syracuse with that, a big hit, a block shot, a goal, scoring chance, the crowd starts going nuts, and then it just starts building to a crescendo, and it just keeps piling on the opponent. So we want to do things that are going to get our crowd into the game early and often. But at the same point in time, your opponent is going to do everything they can to not let you have that. So you just have to play the game. We would have liked to have had a better start on Saturday, but we still easily could have won that game. If we converted on some of our offensive chances in the second period, got that back to 2-1, I feel like we easily could have won. But so regardless of the start, we want to have a great start. But sometimes things happen. Hockey's a game of chance at times. And if they come out and make a play in the first shift, that's not going to be the end of the game. We just need to play the right way consistently through.
This week, a little bit last week, too, staying later with guys on the ice, going over details with them. Is that something he took on himself, or is that something that you kind of empowered him to do?
No, he just takes that on himself. I mean, and that's standard for him. Maybe it's more on the ice this week, but it's standard for him to grab guys and do extra work on the ice, off the ice, to talk through things, to talk about plays. I mean, he's constantly doing those things, and he's just such a great captain. He's a guy that we just have such belief in because of all of those things that he does for the team, but also for individual guys within our lineup.